The new film by Tyler Perry, The 6888, has become his most watched Netflix movie ever. Viewed close to 75 million times, it tells the largely unknown story of the all-black, all-women 6888 Postal Battalion, the only such battalion to ever serve overseas during World War II. Well, the movie was spawned by an article written by a military historian who interviewed the few surviving members of the battalion.
So to understand their story, you have to go back to 1947. Then President Harry Truman desegregated the Army and had the records of almost all the black units destroyed. It was a "we're all one" gesture that made it very tough for historian Kevin Hemel when he was asked to write an article about the 6888 Battalion on the occasion of a monument being erected to these brave women.
This story really hadn't been told for almost 80 years when I wrote my first article about them. The biggest thing I learned, there was a black unit of women in Europe in World War II. I had no idea.
Kevin wrote his second article on the 6888 in 2018, as this monument at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas was to be unveiled. He contacted the few remaining veterans, including 94-year-old Lena Darracott King. She was a wealth of knowledge.
At 94 years old, she was still cooking her own meals and going out every Saturday night dancing. At 94 years old, this is an amazing woman. She was an amazing woman.
Company, ho!
Lena's story is actually featured in the new Tyler Perry film, The 6888. Even before Kevin's article came out, his publisher called Hollywood producers, who then called Kevin.
One day they called me and said, Tyler Perry is going to be calling you. He's very interested in the movie. And I thought, yeah, right. Tyler Perry's going to call me. And sure enough, 2 days later, Tyler Perry called me.
Kevin became the military history advisor on the film.
I think that the film did an amazing job of showing the dignity of these women.
Ready, two.
That went into an unknown atmosphere, not just a war zone, but a zone where they were not wanted in certain ways, and proved themselves and kind of rose above and showed people what they could do.
What they did was disentangle a mail system that was not working.
This mail has been sitting here for over 10 months. The soldiers who are fighting this war have not heard from their loved ones. And their loved ones have not heard from them.
Letters, packages that hadn't been distributed to soldiers for close to a year.
When there is no mail, there is low morale. But all that said, this is our mission. And we will not fail.
And they did not. 17 million pieces of mail sent out in just 90 days in a military environment that was not always welcoming, especially during their training here in the U.S.
Where they met with all kinds of different prejudices that we really were not prepared for. Being completely ignored by your officers, or having one of your fellow soldiers, a white female, throw glasses of water over the stall while you're trying to go to the bathroom in the ladies' room.
So it's sort of like a family monument here.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Karen Taylor grew up hearing stories like this from her mother, Second Lieutenant Vivian Elsie Taylor. She and 18 other Maryland women volunteered for the 6888. While the work was hard, Karen says her mother loved being overseas.
It's not like the U.S., because in the U.S. she couldn't go to restaurants.
So there was less prejudice in her time.
Until the American soldiers came in and told tales.
Present arms.
Karen has seen Tyler Perry's film at least 5 times. It's been deeply personal.
Ready, two.
Watching her mother's story of service finally being told.
I was happy and I was sad. I cried and I smiled. Yes.
What was the sad part?
The sad part was that I'm sitting here watching this story that no one knew about.
So many of the women in the 6888 came home and almost never spoke about their service. They served their country, they came home, and they got on with their lives. And it's amazing that the story is finally being told to a larger audience. And those few women survivors, and more importantly, their descendants, should be so proud of the movie and the service that their mothers and aunts, and anyone related to the 6888 accomplished in World War II.
Unbelievable.
And it's important to remember that this was all volunteer. These women, there was no draft for these women, obviously.
Right.
They put out a call, and these women all answered the call and served our country. And until now, it went relatively unknown. And while most black units in the military contained white officers at the time, every position in the 6888 was staffed by black women. Every single position.
And we wouldn't know this had it not been for this article.
Yeah,
See?
the article... Thanks to him doing the research, which was hard to do.
Being the historian.
And then Tyler Perry, he knew a movie when he read one, and it's a good film. If you haven't seen it, it's a good film.